How are you?
God first, but we also just sort of like one another here. We're a big family, and so we enjoy being here. So we're grateful that you've been part of this Sunday morning experience here. We want you to take a moment just a minute to greet everybody, but I just want to give you some announcements, and then I'll turn you loose to greet one another. We are saddened. Some of you know that Ken Kenfield passed away last night. It was a kind of a surprise, but anyway, they flew him to Eau Claire, and the family was already here, which was nice, and anyway, just ran into some complications and passed away actually peacefully, and in many ways a blessing. He's had a lot of ups and downs medically, and anyway, we know he's in a better place. We're thankful that he is a friend of God. It sure makes these cell times more special. So anyway, be in prayer for the Canfield family, as arrangements will be made here in the next day or two, and we'll let you know about that. I know they're special to each and every one of our family here. A couple of announcements we just want to make you aware of that. Mark Bergen will be preaching next Sunday. I'll be going to Nebraska. My dad has a special recognition and celebration that we want to be part of, so thanks for allowing me to be gone. But I kind of like to be here to hear Mark preach, I'll be honest. So anyway, I'll be here. We're thankful Mark. Also, the men's breakfast that meets Wednesday mornings. In the bulletin it says we are at Flambeau Falls Cafe. That is incorrect. We are back to Gordy's. And so just if you're one of the men, note that. Also in your bulletins you're going to find a Life's Too Short, a little 3x5 card, and you get to help pick sermon series coming up after the First Thessalonian series. Life's too short for what? Or life's too short not to. Life's too short Someone said to drive a boring car. I drive an Oldsmobile. That's kind of boring. My boys would say that's boring. Life's too short. Eat dessert first. I can live with that. I can live with that. But also, life's too short for some serious matters too. So life's too short. I want you to fill that out. Life's too short, or life's too short not to forgive. Life's too short not to enjoy family, or whatever it is. And we'll be doing a short 3-week series on life's too short. So help me out. Fill that out, and you can either put that at the entry table, you can put that in the offering. But I want your input on that as well. I think that's all I have for now. So feel free, get up, give a handshake, a high five, or a fist bump, or however you want to do it. Welcome.
Nobody comes back and visits you fellas, do they? You need them coming in. Yeah. Hi again, John. I don't have any friends anymore.
Good morning, John. How's the wife going?
Good.
Getting stronger every day. Morning here.
How you doing?
What you got set down there now? I haven't seen one for a while.
Nothing.
Sold it all?
Well, not really. Sold it. My son did, but I didn't.
Blessed be the name. of salvation, the gift that you gave with the sacrifice of your life for us. Lord, let us just really give that thought in our hearts today as we prepare our hearts and come before you with openness and honesty. And thank you. We want to say thank you once again. In your name we pray. Amen.
Continue with our worship time. Again, a special time at church each week is a time we bow our heads and humble ourselves before the Lord as we partake of the communion. And so we just invite you, if you are a believer in Jesus Christ, this isn't just our church. You don't have to be along to this church. We just want you to belong to God's family to partake of this communion. So we invite you to join us during this time. Let's pray. Father, we sing, we'd rather have you, and oftentimes we sort of let that slide, but we really would rather have you, and we want our lives to reflect that, because you wanted what was best for us, and you sent your son Jesus to die on the cross in our place. And so we're grateful. We celebrate that now as we partake of this this special sacrament that you set forth. And you said, do this to remember me. So we do this each week. This is a special time to remember you. Bless us now as we partake. In Jesus' name we pray. We do have children's church this morning, and I actually remember to make that announcement. So if our children 3 years old through about 3rd or 4th grade want to be dismissed to the back, they'll be greeted back there. And we're in our 2nd week of 1 Thessalonians. Good, I'm going to encourage you if you want to change up your Bible reading plan, or perhaps not in a Bible reading plan or something, but 1 Thessalonians is a short little letter that easy to read, doesn't take long, and then it just acquaints you with what we're going through on Sunday mornings for the next few weeks. Anyway, we're in chapter 2. We don't preach each week on every verse type of thing, but I think it's helpful for you to read that letter, so I just encourage you to do that. Last week we learned that this was Paul's first letter. This was the first letter that he wrote. He had only been in this city for a short time, got run out of town by a mob, feared for his life, and checking back then is this letter to see how the church is doing. He was encouraged by what he saw. So we're in chapter 2 this week, talking about who are you going to please? Who do you want your life to please? We know the Sunday school answer. I'm guessing you are a lot like me, probably raised with similar values, probably had parents, not probably true for everybody here, but most of us in this room probably were raised with a mom or dad that wanted us to do the right things, behave the right way, look the right way. And my mom would want our clothes to match. I had an older brother and 2 younger sisters, and that's just the way moms were. They thought you should look good as you went to school or whatever it might be. And so that was important to her. We just picked whatever was on the top of our drawer, and that's what we wore for the day. But the moms thought for church and school and all that, they wanted us to look good. Socks weren't supposed to have holes in them. Again, we didn't care if our socks had holes in them. Who cared? Our underwear, if it was clean, fine. If it was dirty, fine. No one's going to see those things anyway, right? But you never know. You might get hurt. You might have to go to the doctor, and they're going to be really concerned about your dirty underwear or your holy socks. So I don't know. Anyway, now kids wear the holy jeans, you know, not I call them church jeans because they're holy. We had some friends back in Iowa who, a girl bought some of the jeans, you know, they had the holes in them, and she was all excited. And she went off to school, and Grandma saw them, and Grandma thought, well, I'll fix those for her. So Grandma patched all her holy jeans. When she came home, all those brand new jeans were not the way she wanted them. Anyway, our parents were concerned about that. You know, my parents were concerned. I have wonderful parents, if you met them. But anyway, they didn't like us to look like the world. You know, you can buy root beer in the bottles that look like beer bottles. And they wouldn't do that. We didn't want to look like we were drinking the wrong stuff, even though we were like 6 years old. Or candy cigarettes. Anybody, you guys remember the candy cigarettes? Yeah, oh, my mom hated those things. We thought we were so cool. Puff that smoke out there, eat these candy. We had to sneak candy cigarettes, you know. We're taught to be aware of what other people think. And there's probably some value to that. But on the other hand, maybe we go too far with it. Our son Darren ended up wearing the same shirt to church for 52 weeks, I'm sure, at least every week. It wasn't worth the struggle. He liked this green shirt, so we just let him wear every week. And I'm pretty sure we were more concerned with what they thought about their parents. Like, don't they ever buy their kid a new shirt? He didn't care. It was his favorite shirt. But we were worried about what the Sunday school teacher thought, that the preacher couldn't afford a new shirt for their kids. And so sometimes we're that way as parents. We're more worried about what people think about us than we are our kids. That's how a lot of us were raised. And by the way, it took me like at least half a year to notice he wore the same shirt every Sunday. We do want our lives to be testimonies to others, but we can get so swayed by what other people think, and we try to please them, and we tend to take things personally ourselves. There's a verse in John 12:43. It says, "For they love the glory that comes from man more than the glory that comes from God." In this instance, Jesus was saying, "I'm going to leave you," and there were some who had accepted Jesus. They were authorities, but they were in fear of the Pharisees, and so they were more concerned about what men thought than what God thought. And we find that in Thessalonians as well. If we're honest, and it's church, so we sort of have to be honest, and, you know, we ought to get a kick out of that. We think we can do differently outside of church, but at church we have to be honest. At home, whatever goes. Anyway, if we're honest, we all probably battle this people-pleasing thing a little bit. Some would battle it heavier than others. We struggle with the people-pleasing issue. It's tempting to please others without even thinking God or putting others ahead of God when it comes to pleasing in the pleasing department. I don't know why that's the case. Maybe it's a reflection of how we were taught, our upbringing. Maybe it's just a personality weakness where we just get intimidated by others and we want to be people pleasers. Sometimes it's easy to compromise and convictions that we hold dearly, we sometimes compromise because we don't want to be frowned upon. What will they think about us if we do this? And in teenagers, it's called peer pressure. Okay, and sometimes they bow because the peer pressure is strong. They do things they probably didn't set out to do. And yet, I think it's just as true for adults as well. Examples. What would be some examples of small things in our lives where we might tend to value people's ideas over God's ideas? I got thinking, prayer in public. You ever sat down in a restaurant and you kind of go, I don't know if I'm comfortable praying. Even those of us who've grown in the church, even your preacher, sometimes like, do we want to do this here? I'm not trying to shame anybody, saying if you don't pray in public. I'm just saying that's an example. Sometimes we're uncomfortable because what's that going to make the booth next to me feel? Or what if the waitress comes and we're in the middle of our prayer and we get sort of upset about it? You know, personally, I find it encouraging when I see others bowing their heads and families bowing their heads in public to pray. Indication necessarily of it's not a litmus test for heaven or anything like that, but that's one instance where sometimes we sort of shy away from what we think. At home we would pray, but in public we want to be real careful about that. Maybe we make our decisions sometimes on what others might think of us. I knew of a married couple, friends of ours, who wouldn't come to church because the dad was in farming and agricultural things, and sometimes it would be very busy, and he would not be able to, he was in the seed business, and they would be out in the seed corn plots and stuff on Sunday mornings, and she did not want to come to church without him because people might think their marriage was having troubles. It was just, she was just so worried about what people would think. Sometimes we think that way when if you purchase a new car, what are people going to think? Other people are the opposite. What are they going to think if I drive this old beater? Same thing. We're worried about what other people think. And it's so easy to let that influence how we live our lives. And it goes on and on. Sometimes we overlook problems in our best friends because we want to be people pleasers. Maybe there's a little wisdom in that. And what happens when we follow that people-pleasing side of things? We sometimes disobey God's design for us. He designed us a certain way. What happens is we end up losing sleep. We end up losing respect because we sort of take this middle ground. We lose sleep because we sometimes know, that's me. Sometimes I crave man's applause rather than God's applause. We see it in 1 Thessalonians chapter 2. Paul indicates that God's approval should be on the top of our list. He wanted to please God, and he shares that. And so today's message obviously centers around, do I want to be a man pleaser or do I want to please my Creator? And I think if we can learn to put pleasing our Creator at the top of the list, you're going to find more joy and you're going to find confidence as you live your lives. So let's turn to 1 Thessalonians 2, verses 1 through 4. It says, "For you know, brothers, that our coming to you was not in vain. But though we had already suffered and been shamefully treated in Philippi, as you know, we had boldness in our God to declare to you the gospel of God in the midst of such much conflict. For our appeal does not spring from error or impurity or any attempt to deceive, but just as we have been approved by God to be entrusted with the gospel, so we speak, not to please man, but to please God, who tests our hearts. For we never came with..." Let's just stop right there. He says, our coming to you was not in vain. It wasn't a failure. And we might look at that as a failure. He was only there for a short time. He preached 3 times in the synagogue. We would say that might be a failure. It just didn't work. We might come up with all sorts of reasons why that wasn't a good thing. And he says, hey, my coming to you wasn't in vain. It wasn't worthless. It wasn't a failure. That made me think about failure. Anybody get an F on a report card growing up? I don't think I did. But I heard a story about Billy. Billy brought his report card home, had 2 F's on it, but he was a very smart young man. He went up to the attic and found Dad's report card and said, "Dad, here's my report card, and here's your 2. Yeah. and anyone ever thought about how we grade? I mean, the grading system, we have A, B, C, D. Whatever happened to E? And we just go straight to the F. And A doesn't stand for awesome, it stands for, I don't know what. And B, I don't know what all those things stand for. C, is it complacent? And D, is it, I don't know, but whatever happened to E? Our whole system is kind of weird. Who put that system together in the grading system? Anyway, what we learned in our story today is failure is not fatal here. And this, we might look at this whole series, although we know it from the backside, but we'd say that doesn't work. You were there 3 weeks, you got run out of town. It wasn't a good idea. And if this story says failure isn't the final thing, in fact, it might not even be failure. And if you look back on your life, you probably have failures. I have some failures that I'm not proud of. But that's not my story. That's not your story. We're not stuck in our failures. It won't look like a failure. Mine has been a building block to the next best thing in your life. So if you had failures in your life, take note from 1 Thessalonians. Paul points out here they had suffered persecution in Philippi. He just seemed to bring it upon himself. Wherever he went, he had persecution. And he was arrested, thrown in prison, beaten up, but he's released. And in this town, he creates this stir. And this is why he gets run out of town again. It's just one thing after another for him. Much conflict. Again, short stay in this town, but he loved these people, and he's checking in on them to see, are they still in the faith, are they growing? And sure enough, he was encouraged. We talked about that last week. Paul had been criticized for leaving. Are you running scared? which is kind of crazy because here's Paul who had suffered more persecution than anybody else, and it was just wise for him to leave. And so he kind of addresses some of the criticism that he had. They said, you're a coward, you're afraid of the persecution. And so some of this is sort of a defense of where he's at. And said, hey, we weren't afraid, we were just doing the right thing. Some said, hey, you're taking money. He said, hey, I didn't take anything from you. We worked and toiled day and night. I didn't take anything. He was a tent maker, and he says, we worked hard, and we weren't a burden to you. You didn't have to give offerings. You didn't have to do that. So in some ways, he's saying, this is who we are. Verse 9, skip down to verse 9. For you remember, brothers, our labor and toil. We worked night and day that we might not be a burden to any of you, while we proclaim to you the gospel of God. You are witnesses, and God also, how holy and righteous and blameless was our conduct toward you believers. For you know how, like a father with his children, we exhorted each one of you and encouraged you and charged you to walk in a manner worthy of God, who calls you into his own kingdom and glory. Again, reminder, these aren't first, second, third generation Christians. These are brand new Christians. They haven't been Christians very long, and they're receiving this persecution. Way different than our stories. He says, I came to encourage you. Oh, my life was full of integrity. And so he stands up for himself here. Ever been criticized? That's a dumb question. We've all been criticized. But it hurts worse when it's friendly fire, doesn't it? When it comes from within. And I can't figure this out. For the life of me, I can't figure out why it happens in churches. Of all the places that you should be encouraged, it should be in a church. And yet sometimes we have whole communities full of people with bad church experiences because they was criticized from within. And usually that stems from personal preferences, things we have. Usually it's not doctrinal, it's just the way we like things. But man, that shouldn't be. This should be the best hour of your week. Because you're with God's people. And we share a common mission. And we proclaim Him. But sometimes we get hit by friendly fire, and I don't understand it, but we try not to do that. But sometimes it happens. Here's what happens if you find yourself being a people pleaser. You find discouragement a common friend. Maybe not a friend. But when you try to please people all the time, you are going to get discouraged. Last week we talked about encouragement. But when you try to please people all the time, you're going to find discouragement. Why? Because people are really hard to please. And you can't please them all. Ask a coach. Ask a referee. Ask a teacher. And so if you're caught in this and you wonder why you're discouraged all the time, maybe it's because you are seeking the applause of man over God's applause. Isn't it amazing you can receive 99% encouragement from a church or from a family or a friend, but you get one discouraging remark and you focus on that. Popular singer Ed Sheeran says, I can't tell you the key to success, but the key to failure is trying to please everyone. Again, coaches, teachers, referees, and others know this better than bosses know it sometimes too. We live in a world that's politically correct. We can't say anything. Someone's going to be offended. The Washington Redskins just got out of court saving their name because a small group of people didn't like them called Redskins. Even though really it was a badge of honor. And the Indian nation, from what I understood, didn't mind being called that. But there was a group that didn't like that. Politically incorrect. And so we always are battling this people-pleasing issue. We can't please everyone. If you're trying to please people all the time, life is going to be long and difficult and worrisome. And joy is going to be far from you. Because it's impossible to please everyone. Sometimes we can be led down the wrong path by others. Sometimes we can hang out with the wrong people. Remember Simon Peter? He ran with fear, found himself in a group of people, some of Jesus' enemies. They accused him, aren't you a friend of Jesus? Not me, not me. 3 times. Not me. Because he was worried about what people said, rather than what God said. Amazing what we'll do to fit him sometimes. And when he's done, what happens? He's discouraged. He goes out and weeps because he knew he'd compromised his beliefs. He was more concerned about what people thought than what God thought. You can be led astray. Oftentimes we're people pleasers. Proverbs 13:20 says, "Whoever walks with the wise becomes wise, but the companion of fools will suffer harm." As you reflect on life, you ever found yourself in the companion of fools? Made some choices you didn't normally make because of the people you were with? As parents, we want our kids to be around positive influences, so we preach that. Why? Because we learn through the school of hard knocks sometimes that hanging out with the wrong people sometimes allows us, encourages us to make poor choices. Some of you have spent a lifetime trying to please parents, trying to do the right thing. Some of you spent a long time trying to get the approval of a boss, trying to please your boss. Good things. But sometimes you wise up and you go, you know what, they're human too. You realize they're just regular people too. You find disappointment. Tried so long to impress somebody for years and you find out they're not who they are cracked up to be. Other times you see it in father-son relationships often, where a son tries desperately all his life to please the father and never gets father's approval, and father passes away and there's just confusion. We're not going to please everyone. Let's go back for our text here in Thessalonians. Paul was courageous. I think we're living in a day and age where we need to be more and more courageous. It's not like church like we used to do it. It's just not. We have to be more courageous. We have to be willing to speak and to act on what God wants us to do. Our complacency has probably cost us. It's on my generation. It's on your generation. As we look at the younger generation. Because maybe we were passive. And I'm not saying we need to be obnoxious. I'm just saying we need to look for opportunities to share about Jesus. We shrink from that because we want to be people pleasers rather than God pleasers. God pleasers. And again, we don't attack people. We don't take that sort of action. We take the action that Paul did. Let's go. First of all, Paul wasn't exactly courageous all the time. We think he was. 1 Corinthians 2:3. "And when I came to you, brothers, did not come proclaiming to you the testimony of God with lofty speech or wisdom, for I decided to know nothing among you except Jesus Christ and Him crucified. And I was with you in weakness and in fear and much trembling. And my speech and my message were not in plausible words of wisdom, but in demonstration of the Spirit and of power." We shared that last week too. He says, I was fearful. I came to you with trembling. My courage isn't always what it needs to be. Boy, if Paul was that way, how much more us? Again, how should we speak? I'm not saying we're bold and obnoxious with our faith. We just do it gently. Verse 7, "But we were gentle among you, like a nursing mother taking care of her own children. So being affectionately desirous of you, we were ready to share with you not only the gospel of God, but also our own selves, because you had become very dear to us." He paints this word pictures. He said, we were like a gentle, nurturing mother with you. We didn't come beating you down with this. We were gentle with you. And I think we aren't going to argue any one of our friends into God's kingdom. So leave the Facebook posts off and the argument on Facebook. I've never met anybody who was argued into the kingdom. It doesn't work. So let's get practical. Let's love people. Let's be gentle. Let's stand up for what we believe. Let's say, hey, let's be gentle like a mother is gentle, just like Paul was. But leave the arguing to them. You're not going to argue anybody into the kingdom. You're going to win them by being gentle and being loving. Is it slow? Yes. Is it effective? Yes. Sometimes it's hard to speak the truth and to stand up for what we believe. Even as pastors, we struggle with that at times. But it comes down to what approval do I want? Do I want man's approval or do I want God's approval? And there's times, as a pastor, you sort of have to speak what God would have you speak. And sometimes that's difficult as you confront people lovingly. But you do it in a gentle manner. But you do it because this is what you believe. I talked to my dad last night. He said, I have a hard funeral this week. Someone who had no eternal purpose, no kingdom experience whatsoever, no church. He said, it's hard. He said, I have strong convictions. This is an 81-year-old guy. I have strong convictions. But his choices didn't lead him to the cross. What am I saying? Sometimes you have to follow God's lead and say, I want the approval of God rather than the approval of man, no matter what your occupation. I don't know where you're at today. Have you found yourself leaning to the people-pleasing side? Let 1 Thessalonians chapter 2 encourage you to evaluate that. In what way can I demonstrate that I'm a God pleaser, not a people pleaser? Sometimes that's hard for young parents. I can remember saying, you know what, we don't know the right answer. We're going to do it the way God wants to do it, boys. That's our best answer. So we use the God card. We let him be the scapegoat. He's big enough to handle that. Sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes you have to do that at work. If you've found yourself worn out, if joy is distant from you, maybe you need to evaluate this people-pleasing versus God-pleasing. And just let your light shine. Shine it gently, shine it brightly. Really, there's no other opinion that matters on that final day. It's God that's going to say, well done. Well done. That's what we strive to please. Worship team's going to come, lead us in a beautiful song as we close today. Just want to encourage you again as we read through Thessalonians. Pick it up and read it. Let God's word speak to you. Evaluate. Am I a people pleaser? Am I a God pleaser? How's that look like in my daily life? What's that look like in my family situation? What's it look like as I go to work? People pleasing, God pleasing. And let Thessalonians speak to you. Let's stand as a worship team.
You come.